Right, the next submission is Christopher Webster.
Right, good afternoon. I have two matters which I put in the documentation which you may or may not have looked at.
Oh, you can sit down if you wish.
I'm pretty liberated about that now. I'm happy to stand.
That's fine.
The first was the rating system. I don't for one moment pretend that we need to have a big discussion about this here, but I felt it need to be on the record that a great number of people with whom we socialise and discuss these heavy-duty matters of civic work feel that the rating system is past its use-by date. It's ridiculous. It bears no resemblance to the usage of the household of council facilities, which is no news to you because I've seen it all in the paper before, but I just wanted to add my voice to the long list of people who feel that it's time to do something serious about it. The second one, which is more important to me and to a sort of many people in Christchurch, is the issue of curb crossings, and I'm not sure if I'm using the right terminology here, for cyclists, mobility scooters, parents with prams. The problem seems to be that although everybody would argue that they understand the need for a smooth transition from one side of a footpath onto the road, across the road and off to the other side, a good number of the curb crossings installed by the council are way below par. Their angles are all wrong, they're dangerous, and anyone who rides a bike would be able to speak to this topic. The worst problem is that some of these are legacy issues, and councils were doing this in 1965 because I saw my father arguing with a council person in Palmerston North about it, is this manic need to put a lip on the ramp down to the gutter so that you can have a 70mm step up out of the gutter onto the curb ramp. I'm not quite sure why that is, because a great number of cities in the world who have way more cyclists than us can get away with a straight, smooth transition with no stepping at all. Now, there's two issues here. Either the specification which the contractors use to build these for you is wrong, in which case it needs to be changed, or the specification is right and correctly mandates the need for a smooth dish drain, in which case we've got slack tradecraft and sloppy supervision on the part of council contract management. I've seen elderly people in motorised scooters come to all kinds of grief on these crossings. I've seen mums with prams getting all tangled up, trying to get through them. I've seen people take terrible spills off them on bikes. I've come close myself a couple of times. So I think some attention needs to be paid to that, and although I hesitate to suggest a working group, somebody needs to get a hold of the specification for these and check that it makes sense and that it's actually being applied. I notice on the start of Great South Road, up by Feet First Podiatry, there's a huge number of these in the new cycle lanes, and they seem to be done bloody well. But there's others around town which are as new, which are hopeless. So on that note, I'll leave it open for questions, if anyone has any.
Thank you. These are the sorts of submissions that every single one of us relishes. Somebody's taken the time to look at the plan and picked up an issue that they want addressed. So thank you for that. Sarah.
First, a reassurance, because I did come off on one of those exactly on my bike. The specification is for a smooth transition.
Okay.
And sometimes they're not doing it, so I've been sending ones through that I have seen. But my question is over There are some on the cycleways and for pedestrians, but on driveways, the specification is still for a bit of a lip, and yet they're often used by pedestrians and things as well, and kids and those kind of things.
Well, I mean, there is no need for that step.
Yeah.
There is no need for it. The water will flow down the gutter whether it's got a 70 millimetre step or a smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, I think the contract management people need to find some of these, find the contractors who did it, and sit down and have a major sense of humour failure about it, because we're spending council money, and we're getting a poor quality product.
They're incredibly variable. And
there's no need for them to be variable. If the specification's right,
absolutely.
somebody needs their ass kicked.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So they've had to go back and do some grinding and all sorts of things on some of them, but they need. Yeah.
Do you want to see the CDB ones you've noticed?
Oh, I thought about doing that once, and I started taking photos, but I locked up the phone. You know, I mean, I live in the Fletcher development opposite Mexico, where we have this fantastic lane, Huanui Lane, and it's got these bloody things all the way along it.
Right.
And they've been mandated in these beautiful big grey curbstones, where they've obviously been specified with a certain kind of lip on them. To achieve what? I don't know. Because right next to it, there'll be a proper super smooth dish drain.
This is Huani, is it?
Huanui Lane.
It's,
Yeah, it goes from the Margaret Mayhew Park right up to Earl Restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt very much whether the specification is wrong, because, 2 decades into the 21st century, we ought to be able to get that right. So, assuming that the specification is correct, there needs to be a lot more policing and a lot more angry contract maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do the contract, so this was part of the Otakaro. It's a split between, but it is a citywide issue. So you have really, I think, raised a significant issue that we.
I knew I would. There's one I'd give you an example of, and that's Sugarloaf Lane over.
In the South Frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where
it comes off St Asaph Street. I mean, anyone with nothing to do over their lunch hour can go and have a look at that. It's almost as high as a packet of smokes. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
No, I agree with you. I've been for.
I mean, it's even a serious bump for cars.
I could see it. And
just
quickly,
a quick question, Chris. Have you thought about contacting retirement villages? Because I've had a bit of correspondence about this from people, and maybe getting that kind of feedback.
I don't want to sound mean-spirited, but there is so much work there. It's a paid job.
Yeah.
I mean, at the risk of overstating it, you can walk out of here and within 150 metres you'll find 10.
Yeah. One of the issues that's been raised is painting it so that people who are partially sighted might be able to see it, particularly those. Would that be useful, do you think?
No, the problem is not the identification of it. It's the sharp edge and the lip.
I get that. Yeah.
That one side of it has. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's peanuts money, because it can be done correctly when the concrete work is done, and then it's good for another 60 years. It's just that we've got a whole lot of stuff that's got to be revisited now. And someone's taken the money and they haven't done it against the spec, which to me, so there it is.
Thank you very much, and we really appreciate the effort that you've gone to, not only to make the submission, but also to come in and really back it up. So thank you very much.
I did consider street protests, but
Can I assure you that this is much more effective?
Okay.
Well, as a start,
yeah,
you might need to resort to street protests otherwise. But it's a very powerful point to make. So thank you very much.
Well, it affects everybody.
It does.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. The next one is the Green Lab, and